Hello everyone, I'm Charlie Tolhurst and welcome to another video on Motormania, which is a YouTube motoring series I'm doing on my channel. Please like and subscribe and I'll alert you when new videos come online about it as well. Now this is the first video I'm going to be doing in quite a while, and today I'm going to be talking about an SUV. Yes, a British SUV that has quite significant influences on the UK. Is this Britain's greatest ever 4x4? Probably in the world of eyes of many, yes it is. But it's one of the most famous. The Range Rover. Yes. The Range Rover, or Range Rover Evoque, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to do separate videos on them cars, because there's a lot of differences between the standard Range Rover and Range Rover Evoque, Sport, Velar, all them cars. We're going to focus today on the big daddy of them all, and the granddaddy, the Range Rover. The main car out of this all. Now, the Range Rover was launched in 1970, and it's a car that I think has got lots of history in the UK from years gone by. I mean, it was launched in 1970. It was introduced as a three-door model in 1969, and the model years was 1970 to 1994. It was introduced as a three-door model until a five-door model was added in 1981. And it was almost at the end of production when Land Rover introduced the name Range Rover Classic to distinguish it from its predecessors. The original model was served as the basis in 1989 was introduced. First generation Discovery directly at the start of a short wheelbase as well. For the second generation, the Range Rover was based on the long wheelbase chassis of the Classic. So you really get to see how this car actually came around. The second generation was then made from 1994 to 2001. And then again from 2001 to 2012. And then the next generation, fourth generation, was not 2012 to 2021. And at present, the fifth generation has also been out as well. I'll come on to plug-in hybrids and electric models a little bit later in the video, because I want to talk about them as well. Obviously, I might do a separate video on new electric Range Rovers and talk in more detail about them. But let's go over this. Now, when this car first launched, it was a very iconic car. And many people kind of affiliated it with off-roading. You know, it was a sport utility vehicle, which is an SUV. That's what SUV stands for. And of course, it had quite a high driving position. So people could access the car. It was big inside, had a long wheelbase, and it was high up. And it also had very big fat tyres as well. So it was meant to be used a lot for going off-road, which is exactly what this car was built to do. It was built to cover all types of terrain, whether it was snow, mud, ice, dirt, gravel, everything. You name the lot. Even asphalt, even normal tarmac. And that's where this car really came in to its own. Now, for the first generation, unlike the first other versions of the car, 4x4s like Jeep Wagon here, the official Range Rover was not designed as a luxury vehicle. It was an upmarket compared to previously Land Rover versions. And the first generation, very basic utilitarian interior, vinyl seats, plastic dashboards designed to wash down the hose. Convenience features would include power steering, carpeted floors, air conditioning, cloth leather seats, a wooden interior trim, and also they were fitted later on during the car. And the original versions also had Rover V8s as well. It was 127 brake horsepower, which was detuned from a Buick-derived Rover V8. And then in 1984, the engine was then added with fuel injection, which was a 3.5 litre V8 with fuel injection. Also as well, it was increased to 3.9 for the 1990 model year, and then 4.2 in 1992 and 1993. So we really got to see the increases later on in the years of the V8 engine. And it also was used in a variety of different areas as well. It also served as well as a fire truck as well at one point over its career. The car also features a variety of different modes as well, which helps you drive off-road as well. They also used it in motorsport for 1979 in inaugural Paris and Dakar Rally, competed a race distance approximately 10,000 kilometres. It also completed the East African Safari Rally throughout the 1980s as well. And obviously they came with the expanded lineup of the Evoque Sport and that. But I'll talk about them in another video. Now, this car was entirely British. Now, it was a British car because it can be built to go off-road, and it can also be built to be customised as well. These cars are very, very popular. Now, a company that I'm going to talk about in this video today is Urban Automotive. Now, Urban Automotive is a company that do wraps. They wrap very popular Jaguar Land Rover cars, and I'm going to do a separate video on Urban Automotive, going into detail about what they actually do. Because they actually help do body kits, high quality carbon fibre, for premium SUVs and luxury performance cars. And they also do a lot of work with Land Rovers and particularly Range Rovers. So I'm going to do videos on the Defender as well, talk about the Defender's history. But with the Range Rovers, they really give the Range Rovers particularly a huge amount of treatment, particularly newer ones. And they really do include them as well. They give premium wheel covers. They also upgrade the Range Rover when it comes to... they give it matte black, gloss black, wraps as well. You can also buy the parts online. Can have like a black badge without the plinth on it. You can also get Urban badge. You can also get Urban custom wheels fitted as well. You can get loads of stuff. You can even get as well carbon fibre wing mirror covers. So they also fit stuff like carbon fibre wing mirror covers as well. They've also done cars up for exclusive celebrities such as Anthony Joshua and many more. Now, the reason Urban are very important to us is because they take these cars and really give them great treatment. And the guys over at Simon and Lenny over at Urban really do look after their cars. Particularly these Range Rovers. They're very easy to customise. And that's exactly what they do. They add big side skirts on them. And they do a big job of that. And that's the importance with this car. You know, this is a car that's designed for that type of treatment. You know, they do design these cars. You can customise them as well. And they're also great drivers' cars. They're basically, these cars, I call these like people's cars. These cars are the great British the hardbinders of the ultimate SUV. You know, if you want space inside, they've got you covered. If you want a big boot, they've got you covered. And if you want to go off-road in them, they've got you covered. They've got you covered in all areas. This is an ultimate British car. The Range Rover is the iconic British car. Inside now, you'll find modern trimmings, high quality furnishings, everything like that. There's high quality in this car. And obviously if you go for one of the more powerful variants like the Range Rover Sport, you get the treatment, you get the 5 litre V8, supercharged V8 that Jaguar offer. The Evoque as well, they do different engines in them. Them cars are different. And the regular Range Rover is what we're focusing on in this video today. Now obviously the older versions also did have twin SU carbs. They now obviously fuel injected. And going into the future of this car, you know, and what obviously the original ones had free door. And obviously if you watch videos like Lazy Boy Garage, they did turn over a profit, actually, because they bought an old Range Rover for about £1,000, not that much money, and then imported it from abroad, bought it over here, and then done it up and sold it over here. And it was a very rare conversion, it completely rust. With these old Range Rovers, you need to watch out for rust. Watch out for rust, watch out for the gearbox, watch out for the engine. Rust is important. You want to make sure you take care of these cars. And also, make sure as well that you check the gearbox, especially on old Range Rovers and Land Rovers as well. Make sure that gearbox is not cracking. If it does, the gearbox is a big part that needs changing. And also as well, I want to talk to you about the future now of the Range Rover going forward. There is lots of news on this, which I wanted to share with you. Because when it comes to this, the future of this car, there is going to be a lot of future going forward as well. Now, in terms of the new versions of this car, the 5th generation was revealed on the 26th of October 2021, and it's, according to Jerry McGovern, who's at the Royal Opera's time, is going to feature 2 PHEV versions, which are plug-in hybrid variants of the car, along with 3 diesel and 2 petrol JLR 3 litre Indium i6 options. The car will be the first Jaguar Land Rover to use an engine developed under combustion and electrified partnership between JLR and BMW in 2019. And also a 4.4 litre BMW JLR V8 engine will also be offered as well. It also launched with range of mild hybrid and diesel petrol engines with plug-in hybrids due in early 22 and all-electric model due this year. And we're going to do a separate video for the electric version of the car, talking to you about the specs, the figures, all that kind of stuff as well. So this car is clearly going to go electric, and I'm sure many other SUVs will. But hybrids, in my opinion, should always remain a priority. There is a plug-in hybrid version coming as well. But to conclude this video, guys, I do think this car is an important British car. And, you know, as I said, many people have owned this car. Driving it off-road, the thrills of driving a Range Rover off-road is iconic, you know. And these versions do go for a decent amount of money. Obviously, they're very rare now, especially the older versions of this car. Particularly the pre-80s versions are very old. Old now, very rare cars. So if you luckily can get your hands on one of these, you'll be very lucky. Just be aware you may need a lot of restoration on one of these. Check as well for oil leaks and stuff. As I said, the gearbox as well, because these cars do go off road. They do get a bit of a beating taking these old Range Rovers. And just be aware that these old parts can be very difficult. You know, as Rover made the original engines for these cars, just be aware that these old engines may need extra TLC when being looked after. But that's all from the end of this video, folks. If any of you got a question, please drop a comment below. I'd like to hear from you. And also like and subscribe to Chazza Sports YouTube channel. I'll alert you when new videos get uploaded. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and goodbye.